Okay, guys, hi. Many of you guys know that National Suicide Prevention Day was yesterday, and normally I will jump on here and give you updates on what's going on, but I'm gonna jump in here today and tell you that uh, message broke last night that Pastor Wilson, pastor in California. He was only 30 years old and he took his own life on the same day as National Prevention Suicide Day. Now, this pastor uh, was 1 year younger than me. He was 30, I'm 31. And what I want to reiterate on, like I did last night in my video, is that if somebody's hurting, just reach out to them. Don't assume that they're not hurting, or don't assume that they must not be hurting. And this is the problem that we have in our society and in Las Vegas. People wait to the last minute to reach out to somebody who's hurting. And what I mean by that is they wait until it's too late, until the person has already taken their life. Now, many of you know that I want to be a social worker one day. I want to be a therapist one day. And it's really bothersome how something like this could happen so quick right after I talk about it. 24 hours, not even 24 hours actually, that something like this happened. Um, and again, I can just imagine how his family must be, how devastated they must be, what they must be going through right now. Send your prayers to this pastor's family. He was only 30 years old. I mean, his life was taken too quick, way too early, and it's just definitely very, very heartbreaking. It's been all over social media all day, and it's just pouring out on social media over and over again. I mean, it's on every social media platform. You can Google it, MSNBC, CNN. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be on the news, um, because something this traumatic, I mean, it's going to hit the Review Journal. It's gonna go worldwide. And the thing of it is, and the thing that I talked about yesterday, and I'll talk about it again, is that we need to make sure that we reach out to people who may be hurting. This is not the time to be running and hiding from people. This is the time to embrace people right where they are. And it doesn't matter what stuff they maybe that they may be going through. It's a time that you stand beside them and go through it with them, instead of just running away when things get tough. And this is the problem that society does to special needs and the mental health community, is that they run when things get tough, or when you're trying to be honest with somebody, they want to run. And these are the most monumental times that somebody should be embracing someone, instead of running away, disappearing not once but twice, and then, you know, just being there for them through the dark times, through the low times, through any time, especially when something like this happens, and something this traumatic happens. And I can never say it again. Don't assume that you just think that, oh, that person's not hurting, because you don't know when it's going to be the last time that you may see that person, that you may be able to speak to that person. And you don't want the last time to be that you got into an argument with that person, or you got into a disagreement with that person, and then they go and then they take their own life, and then you had no clue, or you didn't know anything about it because you waited too long to try to figure out, or to try to ask to see what was wrong. And this is what a lot of people are running into right now is because they're waiting too long to try to figure out, what a person's going through, and just being there to communicate. Like I said, there's not a number of reasons how you should be able to ask somebody if they're going through something. There shouldn't be a limit put on how many times you can contact somebody. I was told that, contacting someone, it doesn't need to be every day. Well, in these times, because suicide is happening every day. I mean, it just happened less than 24 hours ago. And whether it was in our state or not, whether it's in Nevada, California, it's happening. And it doesn't have to be anyone that we know. This was a pastor that was 30 years old, that had his whole life ahead of him. His life was cut too short. And so now I'm here to speak about it because we got people in Las Vegas who like to run and hide, who don't want to come and solve problems when they need to solve problems, when they need to be an adult about things. They need to go face to face with the person or whoever it may be and tell them, hey, let's just squash this, whatever is going on, and get over it. But, and our world is just getting more and more dark every single time. And if we don't try to communicate with a person who is hurting or try to ask them if they need something, this is why our numbers are going to keep getting higher and higher. And I mean, it's happening all over. It's getting out of control. Suicide is a real thing, and it's not something to take lightly, and it's not something to ignore, and it's not something for somebody to just be hiding from you and not speaking to you for like 2.5 months because they don't want to feel the actual truth or hear the actual truth. Again, this is a time to embrace one another, not to be hiding from each other, because you just never know what tomorrow will bring. And even though I try to tell people this now, or a person this now, and they still don't want to listen to me. But again, not even less than 24 hours, we had a 30-year-old pastor take his own life. And it doesn't matter what he may have been dealing with, it still happened. And it's an actual thing. And it's something that we need to all embrace. And we need to be more people of compassion and love, and just to ask people what they're going through on a daily basis. And there's no limit on how many times you should contact somebody. There is no limit on how much they should be contacted. So people trying to put this limit on how many times you should contact a person and how many times you're allowed to contact a person. There's no limit on that. Another thing is, people contact who they want to contact, and they need to stop doing that. They need to stop picking and choosing who they contact, because that plays a big role also when it comes to suicide. And let me tell you why that plays a big role. Because if you just seen that person 24 hours and you don't contact them in the morning to see how they're doing, then that may have been the last time you are probably going to see that person. But it's like society doesn't get that. It's like the situation that I'm going through right now with two people, they seem to not get that. This is vital. This is real. This is not something to take lightly. This is not something to play with. Less than 24 hours ago, there was a pastor who committed suicide and took his own life. And these are the reasons why I want to become a social worker. This is the reason why I fight so hard and I go through what I go through every day. And it's easy for somebody to say, oh, take a deep breath, but they don't see it from a special needs point of view. And they need to be able to see it all from a special needs person's point of view, and to see what we actually go through and what people in mental health actually go through. Because It's not easy at all. These people are suffering with something, and when they need someone to talk to, there's nobody there. And there needs to be more people to be able to talk to people when they're hurting. I can never say this enough. But it's like people don't realize that, or they act like they don't realize that suicide is a real thing. And I could just imagine what this family must be going through right now. I mean, it's like this family is never going to be the same again. Even if they go on to their daily life, they're still going to have that image in their head of their father not being around anymore. I mean, this guy is only 30 years old. I'm 1 year older than him. And of course, I have my own struggles. I have my own obstacles that I go through. And people still, they seem to want to ignore me. They don't want to reach out. They don't want to, do anything. But this is the reason why I'm going to keep making these videos on every platform, because there's no excuse to where anyone will say, "Oh, I didn't see your video, Ben," because there's a reason why I do everything that I do. We need to be more loving, compassionate, nurturing people. And to do that, we need to check in. And I don't mean check in once a day or twice a day. I mean check in every day. And every day, what I mean by that is 7 days a week, 365 days a year, across the board. That is what I mean by that. You just don't check in every other day, every other week. You check in every day, even if you don't want to, even if you're mad at that person, you still check in with that person, because you don't know what they may be going through. Despite everything that I'm going through, I'm still sitting here and doing this right now. I'm still sitting here and telling you, less than 24 hours ago, we had a pastor who committed suicide, was only 30 years old. I'm sitting here telling you that we need to reach out more. This is the reason why I'm sitting here and telling you. This is the reason why I tell the people who choose to ignore me right now that they need to reach more out to me. That they need to be more involved in my life instead of hiding. Instead of just saying, "Oh, we care," by sending videos. It's not just about sending videos. It's about checking on that person every day. Because a video is not going to save a person's life. Talking to them, taking 5 minutes is going to change a life. Listening to somebody when they need you, when they're hurting. And everybody needs somebody to talk to. And I could never say that enough. I've said that over and over and over again. And I'll say it again. It doesn't stop here at all. Just because he's not in our state, that doesn't mean we don't have to care. That doesn't mean we have to stop reaching out. That doesn't mean we don't have to be nurturing. That doesn't mean we don't reach out even though the person don't want to talk to us. That doesn't mean that stops. Because it doesn't stop at all. We keep going with it over and over and over and over again. Because that's the kind of people that we are. Somebody has to do it. If I don't do it, who will? So, again, pray for Pastor Wilson. And I just pray for his family right now. I pray for healing. I pray for that. God, put your arms around them and just be with them in this devastating time of need. Because it's really devastating. And I'm sure they didn't even see that coming. So again, this is why I say it's very important to reach out to somebody every day. Even if you don't think so, still do it. It's never too late. It's not a limit on how much you should talk to somebody. There's no limit at all. Nobody should be that busy to where you can't make time to talk to them. Nobody is that busy. If somebody is that busy, then they need to reevaluate their lives. They do. Because suicide is happening left and right, and it's not going to stop until we as people understand that we need to reach out more to people who are hurting. That's what it is. Try it sometime. Take 5 minutes. I guarantee you're going to go change somebody's life. Have a good day, guys.